You got to put that little check mark where the share screen so you can hear the sound.
I did that.
Oh yeah, man.
Are you serious?
There it is. There it is.
Thank you. All right, we have our technician. She coming on tomorrow.
Don't fear the bully. Please don't fear the bully. Only show them love. Only show them love, yeah. Don't fear the bully. Please don't fear the bully. Only show them love. Only show them love. Don't fear the bully. Please don't fear the bully. Only show them love. Only show them love, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Children's Island, where learning is a breeze. I am here. My name is Gloria Ann Kitchen. I am here with Mr. Kyrie Denby.
Hey everybody. I'm having lighting issues. I don't know what's going on, but everybody.
And I'm also here with Miss Jocelyn Jones.
Hey y'all. How y'all doing? Happy Monday.
And we are here with our esteemed, amazing, wonderful, dynamic author, Miss Julia Royston.
Hey everybody, hey everybody. How's everybody doing? Yay!
You're doing great. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, give you the Zoom. I'm so excited.
uh, well, I'm ready to go when y'all are. Y'all ready? Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm Dr. Julia Royston. I own BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the coaching community, the Book Business Bosses, where we help you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and be a book business boss. So thank you so much for having me on this evening on Children's Island, where learning is a breeze. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. And I'm honored to be and the read in again this year. I think Black History Month has just exploded again. I don't know what happened, but it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I'm going to read two excerpts from a series of mine. And it's a very, very, very popular series. It's probably, for an author, it's, for me, other authors may have it happen all the time. This is the first series that I've ever had that I have an actual waiting list for book 3, which is like, over the top and pressure, pressure, pressure. So I'm like 3 chapters done for book 3, but I don't have a brother. I have 2 younger sisters, but I've always seen the plight and it's not really a bad thing, but the boys, especially Black boys in school, they get a bad rap. Okay. So I wanted to write a series that was really over the top and just all about them. So Terrence the Terrific, let me turn my light because I got a lot of light. Yeah, that's better. So Terrence the Terrific is just that. Terrence has 2 parents. He's the only child. His parents tell him he's terrific. He's smart. He loves school. But, as always, there's a bully getting on his nerves. And so therefore, he teases him constantly and pests him constantly. But something happened. So I'm going to read an excerpt from that one. And then Terrence's favorite subject is the STEM lab. And so that's book 2. Hold on, let me get my light. There we go. So book 2, hold on, too much light. Oh, over here. The Terrible STEM Lab Project. So it kind of goes awry. So here we go. I'm only going to read a short portion of it because you need to get both. You can get both copies at RoystonChildrenBookstore.com. So I have all my children's books at one store, RoystonChildrenBookstore.com. So here we go. Good morning, everyone. Stand for the pledge, Ms. Smith said. Once the pledge was completed, announcements were made. Everyone was seated. I really realized as sixth graders, you should need a reminder, but open your backpacks, check your folders and assignment notebooks to make sure you have everything for the next 7 classes. Terrence knew that he had everything because he had packed it up the night before, but checked his backpack just in case. His heart leaped into his throat. His English paper was not in his backpack. Where could it be? He remembered that he looked at it one more time last night while sitting on the window sill in his room. He thought, how could I have forgotten that? That of all things, I've worked on it for 3 weeks. It was perfect. He thought, I'll only live 5 blocks from home. I can run home, get the paper before first period class. Dad and Mom are not home, so they wouldn't notice. Yes, Terrence. Miss Smith, may I go to the bathroom? Terrence, you know you were supposed to go before you come to homeroom. But okay, just this once. Get the pass. Terrence was about to do something that he thought he would never do. But it was worth it, or was it? Down the hallway he ran, looking both ways as he headed down the stairs. The boys' bathroom was on the same floor as his classroom. If he could just get to the gym hallway and out the gym back door, it would be just a shortcut to his house. Just like Mother said yesterday, it was raining cats and dogs again, but Terrence didn't care. He ran as hard as he could. There was a black cloud hovering over him as he arrived at the baseball field gate. As he opened the gate door, thunder clashed and a bolt of lightning hit him directly on the key hanging from his neck. The electric shock of the lightning burned a hole through his shirt in the shape of the key and heart onto his chest. The power of the lightning knocked Terrence to the ground, and everything went black. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so you have to get it. Find out what happened. Yay! All right, so Terrence is, you got to find out what happens in book 1. And you got to have book 1 to get, and you have to get book 2 to know exactly everything.
You could read just a little more. You done draw the scene.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Now you can go to the next one if you want to, Miss Brooke. I believe you ain't nobody, but
okay, so wait a minute,
I got my copy.
You got you ready to go? Okay. Hold on. So I just gotta let you hear just a little about Terrence's nemesis. So after he, blacks out, comes back to school. Have a great day, Terrence. Remember that you are my Terrence, Ms. Edmonds said, but Terrence closed the door before the word terrific could be heard. Oh, look. The sick boy has to be driven to school by his mama. Can't ride the bus like everybody else. Not my baby, his mother says. Darren added with a snarl. The others laughed, but Terrence knew that today was not going to be a good day. After that comment, he had now become a target. Thankfully, he didn't have any classes with Darren or his crew. But between classes and in the bathroom, well, another story. Hey, Terrence. Hey, Paris. So glad that you're back at school. It's good to be back. We all saw the ambulance when they came. My mom told me that you were in the hospital for the past 3 days after you struck by lightning. Yeah, but I'm all right now. How do you feel? I'm just okay, but feel a little weird. I can't imagine, but glad you're better. What's up with Terrence? You and Terrence. His locker's next to mine. I thought you had something going on. If we did, it's none of your business. Oh, so it's like that. So you like the nerd. His name is Terrence, not nerd. Oh, you're defending him now? No, I'm just calling him what his mother named him at birth. Well, I see it's like that. Like that. Bye, Darren. Ooh, I don't like Darren. But anyway, I've been teased like that too, so I don't like Darren. Okay, so we've gone through like, oh my gosh. So the let's go a week. And Terrence's favorite class, STEM lab. He loved everything about STEM, the experiments, the results, and even the disasters. It was all great to him. So good morning, Terrence. Hey, Paris, what's up? That's his girl. Paris is his road dog. Every morning he's sitting there yelling when I get out of the car. Darren has no life. Give him an A+ for consistency. I wish I could give him a life and something else to do instead of bother me. I don't know how, but today is STEM and we're doing our lava experiment, so that should be fun. Yeah, something to brighten up my day. So they headed to STEM lab. Homeroom went without a hitch and uneventful, besides the boring announcements and the goofy joke from the vice principal. Terrence and Paris headed to the STEM lab. I forgot my shirt in the locker. Cool, Terrence said. So the other students gathered in the STEM lab. Hey guys, how's it going? Fine, Keith, how are you? Okay, there's Missy. I saw her in the bathroom. She was changing her shirt. She'll be in here in a minute. Hey guys, how's everybody? Everybody speaking. Then all of a sudden, the bell rang and all the students were at their tables. Mr. Nelson, who's the STEM lab instructor, says, I hope you're ready with all your materials. One final thing we need to do is put goggles on, and then we'll begin. But as soon as he said begin, the fire alarm rang. All right, students, that's the fire alarm. We didn't get a notice about the practice fire drill, but everybody hit the exit anyway. When they returned to the fire lab, what's in this? I don't know, but we're not going to pour it in our experiment. Y'all got an extra bottle? I don't think so, Missy said. You ready? Yeah. Hold on, Paris said. Where are my goggles? You had them earlier, I know. Suddenly, Keith and Missy's experiment went bad. There was a strange blue foam that began to come out of the makeshift volcano, and not only came out of the top, but shot to the ceiling and out of the sides like fireworks, and into Paris's, who was at the next table over, eyes. I'm going to stop right there. Because that is the terrible STEM lab project gone bad. So my objective with this series is to really spotlight African-American boys, that it's okay to be smart, that it is okay to stand up to a bully. It is fantasy fiction because Terrence and all of them eventually get superpowers. So, you know, that takes it to the next level. But it also encourages young people, especially starting about high level, 3rd grade up through middle school, because I'll do the series. This is 6th grade. We'll move to 7th grade, and then we'll move to 8th grade to really encourage academic excellence, and say it's okay to be smart, and finding the proper ways to combat a bully and to really fight school crime whenever they can. So we have a 3rd person that'll be coming in book 4 when we move to 7th grade, and it will just continue. So I'm just super excited about that series and excited that people are really wanting to read it. It is also amazing when I go to events, because I'm that person who likes live events. As Kyrie knows, I'm a live events girl. But when you see, especially darker hued boys see themselves, because you can tell the skin color of the child, they gravitate to it immediately. And the majority of children's books have girls. And I understand girl empowerment. I have my girl book too as well. But I really want the boys to have something too as well. So I'm super excited about it. It is available at RoystonChildrenBookstore.com. And any questions, ask me.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's been our theme for this month. I think we might as well just make it our theme, books for boys.
Book for boys, yeah.
Every author has had a book. Well, almost every author that we've had has had a book for boys. And that's what that's our thing. I'm going to just make that our unofficial theme. books for boys. 'Cause I love it.
I do too. Because, you know, one of the things too is that, you know, we claim that boys don't read, but they do. They do. Even if it's on the sly, even if it's like I used to under the covers with the flashlight, they still do read and they enjoy reading. And if they can read a story that resembles them, is like them, and that they can identify with, and we all have had a bully. I don't know anybody. We've had a bully even as adults. So we can have that opportunity to read something that shows empowerment, shows that being smart is okay, and you know, loving school and knowing that you know you're prepared for the next level is a great thing.
Yeah. And them in the STEAM lab doing experiments.
I know.
That has all the makings of a great boy book. Stuff that boys like.
Yeah, they're hands-on. That's the reason why, you know, I was kind of upset when I've seen, you know, a lot of STEM labs diminished and we only go there once a month, or, you know, it could be just extra activities and not really incorporated into the curriculum, because, you know, we're very aesthetic, Black people, period, girls or boys. So we like to do hands-on, you know, we're great with when things are modeled for us, and we like all of that, especially getting out of your seat with a pen and or a pencil and notebook to be able to be hands-on and move around is really something that we gravitate to. So really in any way that I can help support that, I really want to do that too as well.
Yeah. Because like a lot of boys who can't read that well, they can go and learn how to take something apart and look at it, and
oh my Lord, yes.
They know how to do all of that stuff.
Naturally. And of course, you know, your area, the arts, they're just great at that naturally. Of course, gym, PE, they're naturally at that. They love technology too. So having those additional outlets, and besides just reading, writing, you know, the regular core curriculum items is important too. We know that, but having those additional things are really, really critical, especially for African-American children, is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the outlet.
People waiting on book 3. I'm waiting.
Yeah, oh God, I gotta get to book 3. Publishing makes it a little bit more difficult, but I enjoy both. So I'm cranking it out as fast as I can. I tell you, but it's really been something that I've really enjoyed. So, questions for me,
Miss Jocelyn?
Yes, it's not a question. It's just you know, just a comment that I really enjoyed the book, and I like that it does display STEM and also uplifting boys, and you know, celebrating that it's okay to be cool and smart, you know. So I love that, you know. And also just bullying is something that is very real, and so I'm glad that more books are being published about, you know, bullying and how to advocate for yourself, you know. And it's really important that parents teach children how to advocate for themselves, you know. Even in early childhood, when we do their assessments, there should be a portion on there that asks, you know, if children are standing up for themselves. So it starts really very young. So that's you know, so having those books is a great reinforcement of that. So it was really good, very vivid, detailing in the book as well. So it was good.
Miss Julia, you know you're a fan favorite. Okay, on Children's Island. You already know.
I love all of y'all. I really do. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Oh, I know. I love your creativity. I admire your creativity and just how you can just take something and it's like, you know, you just add so much color and flair to stuff and it's like outside of the box. But then you bring it into pocket and then you take us out and do another thing of that nature. So it's like,
well, you know, it's really the a part of it is and I tell authors, you know, when we're doing, I just did a children's book boot camp, And I tell authors, you really need to focus on meeting a need that, you know, you see a gap in the industry, see a gap in the what the needs are. And when I do vending events, that is really one of my primary purposes. When people come to the table, I have my notebooks, I have my pen, I'm taking notes because I want to know what I need to go back into my office. Yeah, my very messy and book-filled office and write. And so that even if they don't buy it, if they follow me, they'll know that it's available, but I'll be ready with the next event. So really keeping on the pulse of what the people want. And, you know, that old song, that old R&B song, give the people what they want. So you got to give the people what they want and what they need. And it needs to be able to not only meet a need, but it needs to be they need to be able to see themselves. Our children must see themselves. When I was young, Dick and Jane and Spot did not look like me, but I didn't care because I was learning to read. My parents said that was important and critical for my life, period, no matter who was the character. But today, that's not necessarily the case. Our children want to see themselves, identify with the character, and let it be a notion. Now, maybe that doesn't happen in everything they read because there's some required reading that they have to read that may not have them on the cover. But if they're reading something for fun, if they're reading something for enjoyment, as well as it can be curriculum based, they want to see themselves. They really, really do. And they need to see themselves in all hues. So Paris is a different color. The next guy is going to be a different color and a different ethnicity. They need to be able to see, as they say, the colors of the rainbow. They need to be able to see different textures of hair, different eyes, different everything, body shapes, heavy, small. I mean, we've seen that just in at least the last 3 to 5 years with commercials. Have you noticed that all of a sudden they got big girls on the Old Navy commercials and Target? So there's a plus size woman as well as the skinny woman there. And there's a black woman, and then there's a biracial woman. Then there's one with curly hair. Then there's one with Afro puffs. Then there's one. Come on. They have figured it out so that we all don't look the same and we're not all the same size. Even if we all are black, we're not all the same size. And we don't have the same kind of hair. We're not the same. So therefore, having that representation is very inclusive. And so it just makes all the difference in the world that you're able to broaden your audience as well as, you know, a specific audience. So it does make a difference.
But I think about, when I think about your book, I think about the Huxtables, Bill Cosby, and how it was realistic, but it was still like, you got to see like the imagination of how, you know, how people live out there. Like everybody don't live like we live. Like Bill, it was because of Bill Cosby that I aspired to even go to college. Because, you know, when he came out with Different World, and I'm like, oh my God. So looking at Terrence, you know, some people might not have two parents at home or a supportive mother, but they can go into that book and like, oh my God, this is how the people live. And so, you know, maybe I can be like Terrence. I can be, you know, that's what.
Right. I can be, yeah. And hopefully you can identify with it. But he has working parents. Like his mother is a caterer and a chef, and his dad is an accountant. So they're like working people. So it's not like, and that was the thing about the Huxtables. I know it was unusual to have two parents and one a doctor and one a lawyer. They didn't treat their kids like they were spoiled rotten. They had to function. They had to learn about life. So it wasn't like, you know, they were just laying around eating bonbons all day. They had to go to school. They had to earn their keep. Right. And they had to, you know, do what was necessary, clean their room, etc. So they didn't, you know, they didn't have the whole rich kid privilege thing, but they did have, you know, two parents, but they had to make their own way, make mistakes, get caught in lies, be disciplined, just like every other kid. So I think we loved seeing a Black family on TV, and, you know, and but it's Terrence has two parents, but Paris I only mention a mother. I don't mention a father. So therefore, I wanted to break it up, you know, and just like some other child would say, well, I only have one parent in the home, so I may not identify with Taryn. But parents, every time there's an issue, only Paris's mother comes. I don't mention a father. And so who knows, the other boy may have just a dad raising him and not a mother. Because I want to be able to show different family makeups.
Yeah. Love it.
Wow. Miss, you getting ready to say something? I know it seems like you want to say something, Mr. Denby. Wow. Miss Julia, I really appreciate you taking the time out because I know you're busy, but I appreciate you making time to join us for our book read. Where can we find your books?
Everything is at roystonchildrenbookstore.com. So my children's books are in on an online store by themselves because I do virtual book fairs and you know, just people want to just buy children's books and don't want to have to root through and try to find the children's books as opposed to the adult books. And so then I created an online store just specifically for my children's books. So it's just Royston Children Bookstore. So that's where all the children's books are. I even have given a hefty discount there. So each book is $8. So that's kind of where the as I said, the wholesale rate is. So I offered that for parents. I also do book fairs for a lot of Title I schools. So I want it to be, you know, where they can at least afford to buy a book. There's something about, you know, having a book at $15, $20 is just, I just know that that's unrealistic, having taught at Title I schools. So that's my store for children, for families, and all that. So they're already discounted there.
Well, thank you, Ms. Rice. I appreciate this so much.
Oh,
Well, yes, ma'am. You have any? I was gonna say, do you have any questions for us?
well, you know, so much. So much about not really so much questions, just a couple of things for anybody who is thinking about writing a children's book or wanting to write a children's book. African American children's books are super hot right at this moment. You know, it is just because of the need and the desire, but make sure that the children's book that you write makes sense. It can be out of the box and over the top, but it just needs to make sense. Make sure the illustrations and the covers people are resonating with. And then also be ready to promote them. Be ready to come on Children's Island. Be ready to speak about your book. Be ready to and available for different events. It's just because you have an African American children's book does not mean it's going to sell itself. You have to be ready to promote it. And I know that's the part that we all don't like, but and that's the part that's, you know, usually something that we're, you know, that we wish somebody else would handle, that somebody else would do for us. But people, when they pull out their credit card and they say, I want to invest in this book, 9 times out of 10, they want to meet the author. And I have sold other people's books. I have done all of that, and they do okay, but they still want to meet the author. So, you know, if you're self-publishing, however you're publishing, it doesn't matter for that. You just need to be ready to promote in some way in shape or form, whether on formats such as this, live events, if you feel comfortable doing that, to schools. You know, I do that on Zoom calls. I had a book fair in Atlanta and I would have loved to have been there all week long with them, but it just wasn't a safe spot for me to be on. So the morning meeting, there I was, hi, you know, with my bear, yeah, you know, over the top. And the book fair was very successful. So you just have to be ready to sell it. You have to be ready for it to make sense. And if you need a test market, there are plenty of schools and plenty of children that'll tell you, I don't like that. That cover's ugly. That don't make no sense to me. I don't, you know, they'll tell you if you ask them. And if you have a problem getting a beta group, let me know. And I'll get a beta group for you. Because I don't want you to go through that expense and then realize that you've offended a culture, you've offended a child, you've offended a parent, or your book will not be received in schools because of certain elements that you felt like were no big deal, but it will be rejected by schools, and it was a big deal. So if you need a coach, if you need to reach out to somebody, schedule an appointment, talk with Royston.com. That's my calendar. Let's have a conversation. Because more importantly, I've written 66 books, so I'm good. I'm going to be, selling books until I die, and I've already put in my will to my nieces what to do in my books and all of that. But for now, I really want people to not be disappointed. This book thing doesn't work. It only works for Julia Royston. No, it doesn't just work for me. It's just that I understand that this is a business, and you got to treat it like a business, and you cannot treat it just like what you feel and what you thought. You've got to make sure that you do your research and development. That in any major corporation, that is like the number one expense is research and development, and making sure that you're giving the people what they want and what they want to buy. And that makes sense. Even if you're taking it out of the box, even if you're, expanding, because this is my first series that I did, the fantasy fiction and superpowers and all that, because I really like that. So I'm like, let me try my hand at it. Let's see how it works. But it does make sense for kids because they see it on TV all the time, the video games and all of that. They connect with that. And ta-da, I have powers, and ta-da, but you got to make sure you can know how to work them powers, and them powers can't get you in trouble if you don't. So I wanted to show those elements too as well, but really making sure as authors that we understand that this is a business, and it is a serious one. It's competitive. There are a lot of people out there because of technology. Anybody can publish a book. Anybody can. But making sure that you get the help and the advice you need so that it is profitable and you get a great return on your investment. That's my 2 cents. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, and I think it's received, for me, definitely it's received very well. I have a question for you, and I know that we really want to be short on time, not short on time, but I have you here, so I want to ask you a question. It's 2 things. I wanted to know, at some point, I know you're busy, but would you be able to come back on at some point? Not, we don't have to do like 45 minutes or 30 minutes, but talk about, in a sense, about how to provide constructive feedback, or how can an author receive constructive feedback without feeling a sense of like, like terror, at some point, because I know that I've offered constructive feedback. I've offered constructive feedback, and I believe it's the way that it's received. And the way
is one thing, given, and the spirit. You want to. The Bible says, "Speak the truth in love." So you got to make sure that the person is in a position to do it and to receive it. And that's the reason why I did the boot camp, because I wanted to get you early before you spent $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000 on illustrations, and you realize that, oh my gosh, you can't have that. You can't have a person or a child doing that in a book, because I've had people where I've republished their books and they were like, it didn't sell anything. And I'm like, baby, there's one thing. The illustrations are beautiful, but Black people don't do that. As a culture, you've offended a whole culture. We don't allow that. We don't allow our children to do that. That's not what we do generally. So you have created a whole character and a whole plot around something that as people, we don't do. So it was directed at Black people. The audience was Black people, but we don't do that. So therefore, she's got books and she hasn't sold them.
Because yes, ma'am. What I do see is that, as a creative myself, when you're developing your thing, it's your baby, so in a sense, you don't want anybody to say anything about it. And, you kind of like,
Well, everybody say I'm sensitive about my.
Yeah. You said, okay.
I'm sensitive about.
Okay. Don't try it.
Yeah, I'm sensitive.
Like back
But
in the day, they used to do that. But I just know that it's and so I know like I can talk with Kyra, or Kyra actually and I really enjoy the type of relationship that we do have. Where he's able to provide coaching to me, and he says,
yes,
Gloria, maybe you need to look at it this way, or I believe it'll be best this way, or I recommend, or he'll just say, well, what do you think? And so I don't know, like, how do you say, sir? I know how you can say it, but at the same time, you don't want to offend anybody. And I think that's where I'm coming from with the whole, like when you're talking with our authors to authors.
How do
and
you
so
call somebody
I
baby ugly?
well, but if you come to me, if you pay for a session with me, I feel like I need to tell you the truth and really tell you the truth. If you submit a manuscript to me, I tell it's hard for me, and my husband will tell you I go back and forth, I agonize about it, but I'm like, they sent it to me and they wanted me to tell them the truth, because there's nothing worse than, as I said before, going through the expense of whether it's a children's book or an adult book, and it doesn't sell because this is not right, or it doesn't make any sense, or that doesn't flow right, or whatever. So I'm the way I'm saying it, you're right. You have to say it in a certain way, because some people will take offense, and I know I'm right, and I know, okay, baby, go right ahead. And so you have to, as they say, shake the dust off your feet and let them keep rolling. And if they won't hear you, and it's like anything else. Kyrie has credibility because he's written books. It's one thing if you're telling somebody and you haven't even written a book, and so they think, well, you just hate me. But baby, I've written 66. I've been in this game 14 years. And so therefore I have hopefully street credit, some street credit. And I've published more than 350. So at my street credit is, I have been at the table. I have been at events and watched people walk by because they didn't buy. And when I go to an event, I'm rooting for everybody in the room to win. But it doesn't take me but 2 seconds, and I have my husband get everybody's business card, and I walk through everybody's table. Honey, you sit at the table, I'm going to meet everybody here. And I can usually guess the ones that are going to sell out and the ones that are going to have books when they leave. And I usually have books when I leave, just because I bring a lot of books. But I usually have 1 to 2 empty containers when I leave. So I've sold quite a bit too. It's not because they didn't like it. It's just I ran out of time and it was time to go. But it's the point is knowing how to say it. And hopefully I really encourage people to seek a coach, seek a mentor at the idea stage, and not after it's completely finished, or when you have a galley copy, or when you have a draft copy, or let somebody see it. And I provide, Kyrie will tell you, I provide privacy statements that protect your writing. So when I'm reviewing it, I'm not, my privacy statements, I'm not doing nothing to your writing. I'm just reviewing it to help you. Okay. And if we sign a contract, then we move forward. But until then, I've written 66. I'm good. I don't need your book. I don't need your idea. I'm good. I come up with my own. But I want you to make sure whether I publish you or not, I want to make sure that you do not go through the expense. And when you come out, you got a product and nobody will buy it. Your people will, your mama will. But after that, it doesn't have wide distribution as it should.
Okay. And another thing that I think that some authors don't understand is the process of when you're writing. Like it's a process sometimes, like that process of going through to have the feedback, the coaching offered back to you and the illustrators. Because I think sometimes people can be very impatient, and that's something that myself I had to it's a process, Gloria. It's just not gonna come up,
Oh yeah, I mean, well, they get frustrated when the editor brings the edits back, and they were like, I don't want to read these edits. I said, well, and then the editors that I have, they're like, well, we're trying to help them be better writers. I said, well, I'm gonna tell you, about 80% are not trying to be better writers. They're just trying to have a book to sell. So you can provide those notes.
Right.
and
I'm sorry.
appreciate that
Yeah, you're
feedback,
right.
but
You're right. Tell the
they want a
truth.
book to sell. They want money to come immediately. They're not trying to do it better the next time. Me, I go through each one by one if there's a comment. Now, if it's a grammatical error or something like that, I pretty much, accept the change and keep moving. But if it's a comment on the side that the editor is taking time to write 2 or 3 sentences and say, this doesn't make sense, and then I reread it again, even after I've done rewrites, and realize, what was I trying to say right there? Oh, yeah. Okay, I do need to change that. So, being able to want to be better at your craft and do better and improve that service. But some people are a one-hit wonder. They just want to prove to somebody that I did it. And I can usually tell when I have a conversation, or whether you're really serious about it, or you just want to do it because somebody told you couldn't, or you just want to try it and see what it was like. You haven't done any homework. You haven't done any research. You haven't talked to other authors. You don't even go to book events. You just say, I want a book to sell. Yeah. And that does make a difference. So.
Wow. Listen, Miss Julia, I thank you very much for these words of wisdom, because they're good for me. It helped me be better. and I'm pretty sure anybody else who's watching it as well, it's just a better forward. So, because I know that I have encountered some of those things. So I wanted to get your thoughts about that. And I really appreciate you.
No problem at all. That's my job.
Well, I want to say now, Miss Julia be having her blog. She do her blog, podcast, the Book Boss Lady, the Book Boss. She got like 5 different TV, 5 different shows with all of this stuff.
Well, the Book Business Boss show that's on Tuesdays at 10:30 on envision-radio.com. I really, when this show was presented to me, I went all the way back to the beginning of the mindset of an author, the writing a signature book that represents you, how you introduce yourself, the things that I didn't know 15 years ago. But now I realize in my 30-minute podcast that I need to help to go back and get the things that I didn't know, that I now know, that need to be broken down, not just for people who want to coach and mentor other people and turn their books into businesses, but also for people even before they start. So those podcasts are designed, and the replays are at the bookbusinessbosspodcast.com. That's bookbusinessbosspodcast.com. That's where the replays are. And so that you have, and there's some interviews there too as well. But that Book Business Boss show is really to kind of really my autobiographical sketch of actually going on this writing journey to being the book business boss, and the things that I've learned, the lessons I've learned, and really pouring my heart out so that I have something recorded. It's really a legacy part for me that I really wanted to start from the beginning and really walk through step by step by step. I haven't even I'm right at the mindset of writing and the atmosphere of writing, and how you need to change, where you write, how you write, scheduling your writing. I mean, all of that. And people say, I don't have time. Yeah, you do, boo. You got time. You just have to make time for it. You want it. You don't want it that bad. Because if you did, you would make time for it. You would change a ring. I went and bought, let me tell you how serious I was. The last 2 years, I knew I was turning 55, and I knew I was going to retire from teaching. And I knew I had nothing else left for education. And I found out that I could retire at 55 and receive a pension until I die. It wouldn't be the whole big thing, but I knew my business was growing. I had nothing else left. I told my husband I'm going to buy a refrigerator and a microwave for my room and my computer lab. For the last 2 years, I did not eat in the teacher's lounge because I knew that was all about here, current, now. I needed that 20 minutes, that hour planning to work on my dream, my goal, where I was going. So there's no sense if I'm wanting to be a principal, if I was going to be an assistant, sure. I want to be involved in all that. But that wasn't my goal. My goal was to be a full-time entrepreneur, writing, teaching, coaching. And so the last 2 years of teaching, that's what I did. I'm like, I love all y'all. I have nothing against none of y'all, but I'm working on something. And I cannot sit here and fuss about kids and all that. I'm focusing because I got a lot of writing done in them 20-minute lunch hours. I got a lot of callbacks done during that 20 minutes. And so outlining new books and all of that, I wrote the majority of my books while I was still teaching because I was that focused and driven on it. I rode from home to school 45 minutes one way. I had my phone recording, and then I transcribed my books when I got home. I wrote my devotional on the way to work.
Wow.
45 minutes that way, 45 minutes home. That's 90 minutes. Yeah, I could have listened to music. Yeah. But I closed the doors. I said, hi, I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing. How can I help you? And when I didn't have people to call back, I was recording what was next on my books. I did that. I got up an hour early when I was working on something. I was focused on it. So you can't have 66 books and play around. I just didn't have that time. I wanted to have something to sell. So when I go to an event, I'm not going to get a half a table. I'm going to have a whole table with just my stuff on it. And it needed to be an 8-foot table and not a 4-foot because I have so much to sell. I want to appeal to multiple audiences. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it to win it. You know, I had a client who said, you said you're going hard in the paint. I don't even know what that means. I said, look it up. I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports fanatic. Go look it up and find out what it means. But I was. After 3 to 5 years, I'm in year 4. I'm in year 4. And I'm in that thing. I'm in it. And I'm never to look back and never to return. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And you got to be serious about it. And let's just be honest. In the COVID space, you don't have to be old to die. They dying young. They dying in their 40s. Men, women. The older ladies is going too, but the young ones is dying too. So whatever you're going to do it out quickly. And whatever you're going to make up your mind to do and sitting around just hating on other people, sacrifice and make that commitment to do it if you really want to. And if you don't want to, that don't matter. But if it's something you really want to, and my father said human beings do it, then you've got to find a way to pay for it and find a way to sacrifice to get it done. Otherwise, stop complaining and leave it alone because you didn't make the commitment. You didn't make the sacrifice. You didn't put the time in. You didn't put the money in to do it. I tell people all the time, I'm good with Target clothes, Walmart leggings, Old Navy clothes, because I know where I want my money to go. I need to position my brand in front of these people. I need to position my brand in front of this setting. I'm waiting on my trademark application to be reviewed right now. And that was a boatload of money to do that. But I wanted that. I want to be able to have the registered trademark of the Book Business Boss. The application is in. But I know I can't be shopping online and shopping, paying $400 or $500 for a purse, which I love all of that. But I had to sacrifice and say, well, you want a purse or you want a registered trademark that will live on and feed your nieces until after you didn't go? You know, what is it? Generational wealth, or you want generational nothing? You know, poverty. What do you want to do? What's your legacy going to be? You know, and people say, well, go to Amazon, put my name in, you'll see what I'm doing. You see it all there. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, what are you really wanting to do? Are you wanting to be better at what you do? Are you wanting to be, you know, good at what you do? It takes time. It takes sacrifice. It don't happen overnight. It's not easy things. Sacrifices, working on Saturdays, working on Sundays. I'm gonna shut up now. But you know, it just that you got to be on your grind, and the grind is real. It's not nothing to play with. So, you know, it's just like anything else. How hard do you want it? How bad do you want it? How hard are you willing to work for it? And that's my last encouragement to everybody is that, you know, it just all depends. And time is short. We don't have a lot of time. I have had COVID. I know what that's like to be trying to struggle to breathe. And I didn't say, God, if you let me out of here, I just said, let me out of here and let me get back to what I was doing. I didn't leave no stone unturned. I didn't have nothing. I say, I didn't do and he told me to do and I ain't done it. No, I've done it. I know that's not good English, but I had done everything I was supposed to be doing. I was just trying to get back to it. I'm like, get me out of here so I can get back to my purpose, to my people, to my clients, to my audience, to what I'm supposed to be doing and a message to the world. Until you ready to take me out, I'm gonna keep doing Joy Your Voice and doing my thing. I love y'all. I hope that helps somebody. I hope that
It
puts a little fire under you and gets you
helped
moving.
me. It helped. I know it helped everybody else, but it really helped me, and I thank you so much.
You welcome, love. You welcome. You welcome.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Dim, you have anything to say?
I'm gonna just say the best $97 you could spend is to get a consultation with Miss Royston. She didn't pay me to say that, but it will really help you like get where you going. So thank Miss Royston. You always have some good information. You know, I Miss Royston the other week. I said, "Well, child, I'm getting ready to get rid of all of my books."
You talking about I'm having a midlife crisis? I said the devil is a liar. You better answer this phone.
Right,
like,
right.
What are you?
Yeah, he tried it too with me. I'm like, get out of here with that.
I know. The devil is a liar. You know, I went old school. You know, I was raised apostolic. The devil is a lie, boy. Get on this phone. Talk to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And he told me, I talked to Miss Julie, and Miss Julia, you know, she said, no, I tried. I said, no,
I know he tried. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, I understand that part, but
I'm not dealing with that.
I don't do that. I just don't do that. I mean, if God allows you to, because first off, the game came to me. I didn't sit up and say, oh, I want to all the list of the stuff I've done. God brought it in my lap. So I have a responsibility. And I feel like that I need to be a good steward of what God has placed in my hands. So when people come in my sphere of influence, in my arena, whether they pay me money or not, I owe a responsibility to even tell them yes, no, go 2 blocks and turn right at the McDonald's and you're going to see it on the left. Whatever that looks like and whatever that is like for someone, I'm always honored. But I see people as people first and not just dollars and cents. And so I think that comes out in my dealings, in my business dealings, because I still, at the end of the day, I still have to look at God. I still have to see him one day and stand before his throne and say, what did you do with the gifts I gave you? What did you do with the opportunities I gave you? And how did you treat the people I brought to you? How did you treat them? And I need to be able to answer that. And I want to hear, well done, not good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear. That's what I'm working for. 365 days of the year. What I gotta have. I gotta have it. That's what I'm doing.
I still say if you could spend $97 on a purse, you spend $97 to get a consultation with
I mean, and that's what my job is, to help you. I appreciate that, Kyrie. And I really, I cringe every time I see it. I'm like, I wish you'd have, and it hurts, it hurts me as much as it hurts you to tell you, like, you had just, press, you press publish. No, is it still in draft form? Good, we can fix it, Right. But, like, no, I thought, no. Yeah.
But I'm gonna get one. I know for sure. I appreciate this so much.
No problem, love. No problem, love. Well, you all be blessed. I have a 7. I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Jocelyn, you have anything to say before we log off?
Miss Royston got to go.
Oh, she got to go.
Yeah, she got to
okay,
bye.
So you have anything you want to say about what's going on with Kappa Learning Group?
Oh, well, tonight this week we're doing self-love and mental health. And so I have a guest tonight at 7:30, Miss Tiana Ford. She's going to come and talk about self-care, self-love. She has her own business, and she does like the natural body, bath and body. It's natural essentials. So she's gonna come out and showcase some of her products and talk about some practices for self love. So y'all come on out and see if y'all want some of that nice, beautiful products that she's handmade it now, handmade that
Right.
stuff.
All
So
right.
yeah, ain't got all them chemicals and all that different stuff. But she's she's really into self care and loving yourself. And she could sing too, y'all. We used to we went to Shamley High School together. She was in the chorus. And I'm telling you, she was sang you under the benches. So maybe she might give us a little tune or two, honey. I'm telling you, she could sing. So I'm excited to have her on.
Mm, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for everyone who has come on here. I definitely want to just give a shout out to somebody. My best friend, one of my best friends from Orange Brook Elementary School, Jackie. I believe her name was Jackie Riopale. Now it's Jackie Main. So I want to tell Jackie, thank you very much for joining. And she's been supporting me the whole time. We've been best friends since the third grade. And so also I just want to say thank you to my other friend from Orangeburg, David Harris. They call him Disco. So I wanted to let him say hello to him. And Roland and also author Corey Russell. Thank you very much for joining us on tonight.
And
So
Deidre Watson.
yeah, Deidre Watson. Yes, yes. Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you, thank you, thank you, Mrs. Debbie, and all of everyone else who's watching, but who also is watching as well. Because I've been looking at the playbacks and things of that nature. So we're really streaming up like 75, and some of them even have like 105. And I know as we continue to move forward, the momentum is just going to increase as we continue to go throughout all of the days. So again, thank you very much, you all, for joining us. We're Children's Island, where learning is breathed. We will breathe, and we will be on tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for day 8 of the Great African American Read-In. Have an amazing evening.